Well, it's time to put the Vlog back in Vlogmas, don't you think? Anyway, I think it's just before 7 in the morning. I haven't even had a cup of coffee. And it's a little cold out here, but I thought I would do a Vlog. Friday Reads. So, good morning. I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. This is my apartment. Kenji's sleeping like normal people should be. But I've been awake for about 2 hours for some reason. Kind of normal for me. And it's really cold, so the first order of business is to get a can of hot coffee to keep my hands warm. Which way should I go? I kind of want to show you a new park, new to me park that would be great for filming, but you got to get there. I learned the hard way. I walked, it's a 10-minute walk maybe from my house, and I guess I'll turn the camera around. There we go. So yeah, I walked over to that place a couple days ago because I had about 30 minutes where I could, it was warm enough that I could make a video, but it's a 7-minute walk, 10-minute walk from my house, and I went there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something, and it was just completely thronged with children playing. There would have been no possible way to make a video. So you got to get there early enough. So I didn't bring my microphone or my tripod, but I'll just show you the park, and probably it'll be a next spring filming location after today. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I have had a mini reading slump. I did overdo it, and I don't regret it at all, but I did overdo it with all that reading packed into, you know, an already busy life. So I kind of crashed the 1st of December, and so I don't have much to tell you. Certainly I didn't finish any books this week. This gate to the shrine near my house is just so stunningly gorgeous. Look at the autumn leaves too. Look at that gate. Love it. Building's not too shabby either. You should look at those autumn leaves a little more closely here. This is where I turn off this road to go to the park. So I'm just a minute away from the park, but I love the sign. This store is, don't even know what kind of store it is, or if it's even open. Busy, but the sign. Oh, I guess it's a sign shop. That's what it is. I love that artwork. Okay, let's go to the park. I better find hot coffee. Yeah, there's one up here. But when I came to this park the other day, by the time I got turned down this street, I'm half a block from the park. It was so noisy with kids already. I should have turned around right then. All right. So some of my new subscribers were quite blown away that you could buy a can of hot coffee from the vending machine. So the ones with the red strips are hot beverages, and with the blue strips are cold. And in the winter, there's hot coffee available in most vending. Oh, there's a premium gold. That's that one's my favorite, one of my favorites. So it is $1 something. Let's see. There, that one's now it's $1.10. 10 yen. That is whoops. Here's my hot coffee, and the only thing I don't like about this is it's a screw cap. So I'm gonna take it off and put it on. Okay. Now here is the park. And it is quiet right now. And I like this little, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it, but this would be a great place for filming a video. But I didn't bring my tripod. But anyway, it's a, but yeah, this whole area, of course, it's a park, it's for kids, Sean. I'm not complaining really, but oh, there's even an outdoor pool over there. And this is a tennis court or a basketball court. Yeah, it was just crazy busy the other day. Not at the moment. All right, there we go. The birds are waking up. The dog walkers are coming out, but it's still a pretty quiet place. And that coffee's tasting mighty fine. See, it's a two-hand job. I gotta put the damn thing down. Yeah, that was not the best choice of coffee cans this morning, but anyway. So I have 2 bales to tell you about. Those of you who follow me on Twitter or Goodreads or something, this may not be the earth-shattering news that it will be to the rest of yous, because both of them were a surprise. I bailed on The Court Dancer, the Korean historical novel by Kyung-Suk Shin. It was a buddy read with Kendra, and I just didn't like the writing at all. It's particularly the historical aspects of the story were moderately interesting. I'm just quoting what I wrote in my Goodreads review, but only moderately. And the love story was abysmal, and the writing about the love story just puke-worthy. There was one totally nauseating paragraph that ended with, she had curves where she was supposed to have curves. And I lasted about 3 pages after that. That was just awful. So, that's toast, but perhaps more shocking. I mean, I wanted to like that because it's such a booktube darling, but I don't often get along with booktube darlings. I bailed on Virginia Woolf's The Waves. Now, I'd certainly, not because of any inferiority on its part, but inferiority on mine. I just was not in the right headspace to get into such unconventional fiction. I read it 30 years ago and I loved it. It moved me emotionally. And this time, this was a buddy read with Britta that I bailed on. I got about 2/3 of the way through it, and I just I just had to admit that I was only taking in about 15% of what I was reading. I was distracted. I kept wanting to put it down. I did start it on audio with text, and the audio narration wasn't Juliet. What's her name? Juliet Stevenson. It wasn't her. It was somebody else, and it didn't quite sink me down into the book like a Juliet Stevenson narration always does with the Virginia Woolf stuff. So then I put the audio aside and just read, and it was a little better, but no, I just not in the right headspace. Of course I will try it again, and like I say, I loved it 30 years ago, so I think it was just the right book at the wrong time. So those were my bails. Oh, I brought those books with me and I didn't hold them up. It's, like I say, without the tripod I'm a little... So there's my lovely copy of Virginia Woolf. That's how far I got, so 2/3 of the way through. And I didn't get nearly that far. I got about 60 or 70 pages into The Court Dancer. Gorgeous hardcover. Too bad about what was inside, but I don't want to get too bitchy. A lot of people loved it. It just wasn't for me. All right, let's go for a walk. So I said maybe last week that December is going to be a spontaneous reading month. Nobody reads, especially since I bailed on the only two I had. And I just wanted to focus on, not even focus, but I just wanted to submit to that lovely process of perusing my own shelves and letting books jump out into my hands. Well, I think that is still what I want to do, but I also think even more importantly, I think even more than that, what I need to do this month is that I need to not do anything very much in the reading department. I'm just probably, well, read half time. I've kind of gotten out of the reading slump that I felt myself in earlier in the week. So I have picked up one new book, and I'm picking back up 2 or 3 others that I had put aside. But yeah, this little bench I noticed in my travels the other day. Another little green spot for filming. Look at that. Yeah, I'm just taking it easy. I will tell you about the one new book I started when I get back home, because I can't remember the author's name, and I certainly don't know how to pronounce it, so I'll add that in at the end. I didn't bring my pocket Wi-Fi out with me so I could double check it. But I picked Catherine Mansfield's most famous short story collection, The Garden Party, back up this week, and have read a story and a half yesterday. I did read the title story. It didn't actually do as much for me as some of the others I've read in the book so far, but it was good. And then the one I've started yesterday was much better. The Colonel's Daughters or something. I put a quote on Instagram and Litzy from it that was quite striking. So that really is working for me. And I picked up the Literary History of Saskatchewan, whatever it's called, edited by my old University of Saskatchewan English prof, David Carpenter. Some of it's pretty dry. I read kind of explorer narratives. That essay was pretty dry, but interesting. And I am still really enjoying the Michelle Obama memoir on audio. Some of it's a little boring too, to be honest, but I always tend to blank out when I hear people talking about their university years. I don't know why. My eyes glaze over, or in this case, my ears glaze over. So kind of zoned out for some of that, but she's so lovely. I love Michelle. And I will tell you about the new book when I get home. Hey, well, it's a few hours later and I still haven't showered or shaved, but I thought I might ruin the aesthetic of this video if I did that before I filmed the quick wrap-up. The ending, the book that I started this week on a whim, because I saw somebody post about it on Litzy, and it reminded me that it's been on my TBR for years. Before the Feast by Stasa Stanisic. I believe that's the only pronunciation I could find online. Stasa Stanisic. He is a Bosnian German writer, not hard on the eyes. Let's look at a couple pictures of him, shall we? He's 40 years old. And this is translated from the German by Anthea Bell. I can't begin to tell you. I'm 12% in and I have no idea what it's about. And I didn't want to read the synopsis. I don't like reading the synopsis. So it sounds like there's going to be a little bit of magical realism, which is not my cup of tea, but I hope to be pleasantly surprised. So far, it's really holding my interest, and it's set in some German town in the modern day era, but there seems to be literally fabulous elements at play. The trees are alive or something. There's a drowned ferryman, and The characters seem really interesting so far. I am engaged with it. The cover is also fabulous, don't you think so? So many fabulous Fox covers in the last few years. What's up with that? I first heard about this on All the Books, the Book Riot podcast, which I used to listen to religiously and which I credit for reawakening my love of reading. I listened to the main Book Riot podcast and the All the Books podcast religiously for almost a year before I actually started reading again. I think All the Books came later, so it was not a full year, but Rebecca Shinsky and Liberty Hardy, I owe them a debt of gratitude. Now, I don't share many literary reading tastes with them. I disagree sharply on many of the books that they love, and in fact, the kind of books, especially Liberty reads a lot of, no, they both read stuff that just doesn't interest me, so I've actually stopped listening to that podcast. Just, it served its purpose, I've moved on, but I just have a very warm spot in my heart for how listening to their love of reading and their enthusiasm for what they were reading, for bringing me back home to books. So here I am a couple years later, since I think it was Liberty that was raving about this book on one of those episodes. I'm finally starting it, and so far, so good. That's all. Thanks for watching.